The twin suns of Arkylos sank low on the horizon, turning the metallic plains into sheets of molten gold. Princess Susan Valkyra, heir to the Seraphel dominion, stood on a balcony of obsidian stone, staring across the expanse with an expression forged from cold hatred. Her crystalline armor glimmered under the fading light, each facet refracting the colors of a dying world. Humans. Violent, reckless, short-lived creatures who consumed galaxies like fire through dry grass. They had swept across the outer rim with their steel fleets and undisciplined ambition, shattering the fragile balance of the cosmos. Susan had vowed long ago, long before she became commander of the Dominion's vanguard, that she would eradicate them. But fate, indifferent and amused, had other plans. Chapter 1. The Human Who Refused to Die. On the human flagship. Resolute, Captain Evan Mercer finished strapping his gauntlet as battle alarms thundered through the corridors. The ship hummed like a coiled predator preparing to strike. Evan's eyes, a steady storm gray, held none of the youthful arrogance most humans were known for. Instead, they carried quiet resolve. Arkylos system confirmed hostile, his tactical officer reported. Seraphel fleet approaching in phalanx formation. Evan exhaled slowly. Then let's make them remember we don't run. For months, the Dominion had crushed human outer colonies with ruthless precision. Worlds burned, cities collapsed. Evan had watched entire star systems swallowed by the Seraphel war machine, led by the cold, legendary Princess of War, Susan Valkyra herself. They said she never took prisoners, yet here he was, leading a fleet into her territory. "Begin forward advance," Evan commanded. The stars ignited as the two forces collided. Chapter 2. Across the Field of Fire. Susan moved like lightning on the battlefield. Her armor, an ancestral relic woven with living crystal, responded to her heartbeat. Each motion created ripples of shimmering energy. She cut through human mechs with terrifying elegance, every strike a testament to centuries of training. Her soldiers followed in a disciplined wave. But then she saw him, a human commander fighting on the front line, something no human warlord ever did. Evan Mercer's combat exosuit was heavy and inelegant by Seraphel standards, but he moved with surprising fluidity. He protected wounded soldiers, pulled a trapped mech pilot from wreckage, and covered retreating units with unwavering determination. Humans were supposed to be cowards, yet this one did not run. Susan descended upon him like a falling star, her blade humming with lethal light. Evan barely raised his energy shield in time. The impact blasted him backward across the scorched earth. She stalked toward him with cold, regal precision. "Human," she said, voice echoing through both comms and air. "Your species offends the balance of the cosmos. Your end begins here." Evan spat blood, but stood anyway. "If you think fear will stop us, Princess, you don't understand humans at all." Something flickered. Irritation, perhaps surprise, inside her crystalline eyes. A second clash erupted, fierce and thunderous. Evan held his ground longer than any warrior she'd ever known. His shield cracked, his armor sparked. Still, he refused to fall, and when her blade pierced his shoulder, he didn't scream. He grabbed her wrist and forced her weapon aside with a strength no Seraphel expected from a dying human. "People are counting on me," he growled. For the first time in her life, Susan hesitated. Chapter 3. The Choice That Should Never Have Been Made. Hours later, the battlefield lay in ruins. The human fleet retreated, but not before inflicting significant damage. Evan's unit was forced into a crash landing deep in Arkylos desert canyons. Many perished. Some survived. Evan, wounded, fevered, but alive, crawled from the wreckage. And Susan, scouting the aftermath on a solitary patrol, found him. Protocol demanded execution. Honor demanded no mercy. This human had defied her in combat, humiliated her perfection, and endangered Dominion forces. But when she approached, she saw something unexpected. Evan shielding an unconscious cadet with his own broken body, refusing to abandon even one soldier. Compassion, loyalty, self-sacrifice. These traits were supposed to be exclusively Seraphel virtues. Yet there they were, in a human. Susan lowered her weapon. "You should hate us," Evan whispered through cracked lips. "I do," she said, and yet she lifted him into her arms with gentle precision, carrying him through the crystalline dunes to a hidden cavern where healing mineral pools glowed like trapped moonlight. "I save you only because you fought with honor," she told him coldly. Evan smiled weakly. "Good enough for me." Chapter 4. What Grows in the Space Between Enemies. Days passed. Evan recovered in the cavern's mineral springs, and Susan guarded the entrance like a sentinel made of light and fury. She spoke little. He spoke more than he should. Eventually, silence between them grew warm instead of hostile. He learned that she loved the stars because they didn't lie. She learned that he feared failure more than death. One evening, as violet auroras shimmered over the sky, Evan asked quietly, "Why do you hate humans so much?" Susan didn't answer at first. "When I was young," she finally said, "your people detonated a star to clear a trade route. A star. Millions died across 5 systems, my mother among them." Evan's chest tightened. "We're not perfect, but we can change. We do change. That's what makes us human." She studied him with unsettling intensity. "You fight like a monster," she murmured, "but you hope like a child." "And you," he replied, "judge us by our worst moments but refuse to see our best." A long silence stretched between them. For the first time in her life, Susan didn't feel hatred when looking at a human. For the first time in his life, Evan felt awe rather than fear when facing an alien. Something fragile and impossible had taken root. Chapter 5. The Heart. That rewrote a war came for them. A Seraphel search party discovered the cavern. Evan stood at Susan's side, half-healed yet unarmed, as Dominion soldiers surrounded them in a crescent of luminous blades. "Princess," the commander barked, "step away from the human." Evan stepped forward instead. "No," he said simply. Gasps rippled through the ranks, at his audacity, at her lack of rebuke, at the unspoken truth forming between them. Susan raised her hand. "Lower your weapons," she commanded. "Your Highness!" "That is an order." The soldiers obeyed, shaken and confused. Susan turned toward Evan. What she felt terrified her more than any battle. "You changed something in me," she said. "Something I believed was unchangeable." Evan's voice was quiet, steady. "We changed each other." The suns rose behind them like twin crowns of fire. And in that blazing dawn, the princess who once hated humans and the human who refused to die walked forward together, rewriting the destiny of 2 civilizations with nothing more than courage and an unexpected heartbeat shared between enemies.